Welcome to the Mindful Business Podcast, where we have conversations about building businesses with our mental and physical health in mind. Welcome back to another episode of the Mindful Business Podcast. As always, I'm your host, Janae, and today we are going to be talking about screen time, not just kind of the effects that it has on our brain, but also the effects that it has on our business and us as business owners. And the reason I wanted to talk about it is because it's something that I've been struggling with. I don't know about struggling with, conscious of maybe over the last couple of weeks. And I'll tell you a story as to why it kind of peaked in my brain recently. I went away for a girls' weekend, and on one of the nights, we went to bed and I found myself scrolling till 1:15 in the morning. Now, for me, that's unusual. I scroll a little bit before bed and I am on my phone quite a lot, but I've never doom scrolled that much and until that late. But the scary thing was that I was aware of what was happening. I was aware that my eyes were hurting. They were stinging. I was aware that I was tired and that I was feeling really overstimulated and quite overwhelmed. It wasn't a pleasant experience. And I was conscious of all of these things, but I couldn't stop scrolling. I was in this fixation kind of state of mind where I just had to, I don't even know what it was, but I just had to keep going. And it sounds so embarrassing, but I also don't think I'm the only person to have had this experience. But it got to the point where I had to let my phone die, because if I'd put it on charge, I would have kept going. And I knew that. So I had to give myself some kind of barrier where I was forced to stop. And that was hectic for me. I've never had that experience before. And it felt quite overwhelming. I obviously didn't sleep very well that night either. So that was kind of the catalyst moment, if we will. But I've also been aware now in the last couple of weeks following that, my relationship with my phone, my relationship with technology, and my relationship with social media. And it got me thinking, not just how it's affecting me as an individual and, my thoughts and my feelings and things like that, but how it could possibly be affecting us as business owners. So I wanted to talk about that a little bit. Now, it's called doom scrolling for a reason. Studies have shown that doom scrolling can have a significant effect on your psychological distress. It causes lower life satisfaction because you're constantly comparing your life with this curated life on social media, but it also creates feelings of mistrust and anxiety. I don't know about you, but I don't need more mistrust and anxiety in my life. I have enough of that just on my own. So none of this sounds like it's fueling my life. And very seldomly do I feel after scrolling for 30 minutes to an hour, maybe more. I very seldomly feel enriched and refreshed and revived. More often than not, I feel kind of drained, quite overwhelmed and overstimulated. So there's not a lot of positives feelings at the moment that I'm experiencing while engaging with social media and technology. Sometimes I do feel motivated and inspired, but at the moment, that's not the case. And a factor as to why is because studies have shown that your algorithm and social media and media in general push more negative content than positive content. And this is something that we learned when I was studying journalism as well. And the phrase was, if it bleeds, it leads. So that essentially means that more likely than not, you are going to have an influx of negative content as opposed to positive and uplifting content. As a result, we have to have such a conscious active role in what we consume and how we consume it, and craft our own algorithm, but also be able to have the control to say, this isn't fueling me, this isn't uplifting me or enriching me. I need to unfollow or look for something else. There's a conscious effort that we need to put in to change what we're viewing. Now let's talk about the effects of media and social media on the brain. Most likely you've heard a lot of these things before, but in case you haven't, let's reiterate. We know that excessive use of technology can affect your attention span. It can impair your cognitive and social skills. It can create increased feelings of anxiety and depression, like we discussed, and it also disrupts your sleep. Now, I'm not a scientist, I'm not a neurologist, so I'm not going to go into detail about this, but I'd expect that you have some kind of experience in this like I do as well. At the very least, the experience of when you've been scrolling late into the night on your phone, you don't sleep as well. The University of Texas in Austin did a study and they found that even just having your phone nearby reduces your cognitive capacity. And this is because your brain stays subconsciously alert to it. So we're constantly wired to be checking our phones. There's a statistic that Adults check their phones 58 times a day. Whether you do work on your phone or not, maybe it doesn't apply to you kind of as much because you need to be checking it. But I also have this constant impulse or this compulsion really to check my phone all the time just to see if I have messages, to see if there are new notifications. Even when we're not on our phones, actively on our phones, we're not disconnected. So we understand the cognitive effects on our brain. What I want to look at now is what that does for us as business owners and the effect that it has on us and the way we lead in our business. And to start off, let's talk about why business owners are especially vulnerable to excessive screen time. As a business owner, we naturally end up wearing many hats in our business. And a lot of the roles that we get involved with require us to be on screens, whether it's our phone or an iPad or a computer. The boundary between work and personal life as well has practically disappeared. Not only are we using screens constantly throughout the day for work, but as business owners, we struggle with unplugging, whether it's checking the news after work to see if there's anything that might affect your business or replying to client messages late into the night. We very rarely allow our minds to properly rest and reset. Now, most of us, as I said, can't get away from screens during the day. That is the case for me. I am a designer. I need my computer and my screens to do my job. But it is recommended that we take regular breaks throughout the day. There's a approach that I'm trying to get into, which is the 20-20-20 approach. And that's saying that for every 20 minutes, you take a break and you look at something 20 feet away for 20 seconds. Now, I'm probably not going to do it every 20 minutes. I tend to get in the zone. I am going to try maybe once an hour to get up, walk around, look at something further away, and let my brain and my eyes just rest a little bit. And the reason that this is also valuable even during the working day and not just afterwards is because there's great value in screenless time. Creative and strategic thinking requires us to have downtime. It requires us to step back and have undistracted focus. More often than not, as a business owner, you already have the solution to a problem in your brain. What we need is to allow ourselves the opportunity to disconnect and give ourselves the peace and quiet to fully develop your thoughts without being distracted by the online world or other voices overpowering your inner voice. There was neuroscience research in Harvard done in 2022 that showed that boredom and mind wandering can actually enhance your creativity. And that's because your brain forms new associations when unstimulated. So it's valuable to take a walk, take a break, even put pen to paper instead of just being overwhelmed by content and screens. Screens don't just have an effect on your ability for creativity and problem solving. They also affect the way we connect and communicate with others. If we are experiencing screen fatigue, it affects our mood and our ability to communicate and our mental clarity, which as a leader are very important parts in running a business and leading a team. So things that you could maybe instill more if you're not already doing it are in-person meetings. I know that post-COVID, everything is digital and we work online, we work remotely. 80% of my clients are online. They're in different cities or different countries. So I don't get the chance to have in-person meetings very often, but I will never pass up the opportunity to meet a client or a creative partner in person. And that's because in-person meetings have great value. They foster stronger relationships. They allow you to actually connect with the person sitting across from you. You have more effective brainstorming sessions and you're able to read nonverbal cues, which over a Teams meeting or screen, you might not otherwise be able to. Now, this obviously depends on the context of the meeting and the goal of it. Not everything requires an in-person meeting. I get that. But I think that maybe we've gotten so used to the availability of a Teams call that we've stopped valuing the experience and the connection that you have with an in-person meeting. Least of all to say, just get away from the screen for a little bit and get off of technology and connect with another human being face to face. All of this being said, I know that media and technology has its place. It is valuable. It's not inherently bad. It just depends on how we use it. Yes, media and social media can be great for learning and innovation and inspiration by seeing other creators or business owners or people in your industry doing what they do and learning from it. It's also a really good tool for networking. I know that as well. It's something I use in my business. But I think as business owners, we need to be very conscious of our relationship with social media and craft it in a way that it fuels us, not undermines us and our business and the way we run our business. So something that I'm working on is my relationship with social media. Instead of having a passive relationship where I simply consume whatever is thrown my way, I'm trying to take a very active stance in it. So unfollowing accounts that I feel give me anxiety or cause stress or envy or negative emotions that don't inspire or fulfill me or fuel me, or even just give me the mental respite that I think a lot of us are looking for in social media. When we're on social media, it's usually with the goal of having a distraction or relaxing for a little bit. But a lot of the content that we consume ends up doing the opposite. So we need to have a very active role in how we consume media and being able to catch ourselves and saying, this isn't really serving me. So I'm going to unfollow or, tell the algorithm to show me something else, essentially. I'm not saying put your head in the sand for important matters that might be hard to witness and hard to learn about. But what I am saying is that there's a bit of a balance that I think we could achieve in having an active role in what we consume and how we consume it. So I'm trying to create more boundaries for myself. And I was having a conversation with a friend recently, and we were talking about the fact that, her and her husband are starting to plan having children in the near future. And something that she has been thinking about, seeing other people in her family and other kids around her, is the use of screen time. And most of us are aware that screen time with children is a problem at the moment. We struggle to set those boundaries for them, and they struggle to set those boundaries and understand the boundaries for themselves. There's this really toxic relationship being formed between children and technology. And we were talking about how we would like to have stricter rules and more boundaries by the time we have kids. But in reality, just on ourselves or by ourselves, we're not even able to implement those boundaries now. And we need to start working on that if we're going to set the example for our kids. So some habits that I'm going to try and implement going forward, knowing my situation with social media at the moment, is no phone or screens 30 minutes before bed and 30 minutes after waking up. There was a point where I was trying to charge my phone in like a different room so that physical temptation wouldn't even be there. But for emergency calls, I decided I would have it nearby. So 30 minutes before bed and 30 minutes after waking up are really good, and just allow your brain to wake up naturally without being overstimulated first thing in the morning. And then obviously your sleep is better because you're not looking at a screen until you close your eyes. The other thing is being particular about the certain apps that we're using. Personally, I'm finding Instagram and TikTok quite overwhelming at the moment, just with the type of content that's being shared and the video format. So I'm using things like Pinterest, where most of the content is static imagery, and my particular algorithm is very inspirational and motivating and creatively inspiring. So I'm using Pinterest more, and Substack also it's a more of a kind of a writing platform. And I'm finding those are fueling me a lot more than the video platforms that are feeling quite overwhelming at the moment. Another one or two could be things like blocking certain apps after 8 p.m. So again, I only use Pinterest and Substack after 8 p.m. and Instagram kind of shuts down before then so that I'm not too wired towards the end of the night. And then the final thing is just scheduling those deep work sessions where you block apps or restrict your apps while you're in the zone or needing to kind of focus undistractedly on tasks at hand. All this to say that your brain is your biggest asset in your business and you need to protect it. So my challenge to you is to do a 7-day media audit. Track your screen time. See how it makes you feel, not just with the content you're interacting with, but certain platforms. Then pick one habit to improve on. Maybe it's a screen-free morning. Maybe it's a no social media Sunday. Maybe it's blocking out time and restricting apps during your working day. I know that I'm not the only one experiencing this, and it is hard. It is tricky. There's an addiction that we're forming to our phones and to social media, but it's going to have consequences on our brains and our businesses. So I want to work at actively avoiding that. So let me know how it goes. Let me know if you relate, if you've done something like this, if you've achieved the boundaries that at least I am searching for and some of us are searching for. Please let us know. I'd love to hear some tips and tricks. Our next episode is very cool and I'm looking forward to sharing it. So that's kind of it for today. I'll see you next time. Thank you for listening to the Mindful Business Podcast. If this resonates with you, please follow along, share it with a friend or a family member who you think could benefit from it. Leave a review, a comment, a question. I'd love to hear from you. What are you struggling with? What do you want to know about? Also, don't forget to take a break today. You're allowed to go at your own pace. See you next time.